Hello, welcome back to another video. My name is Gemma and today we're doing this. So if this is the first time you've seen this, this is the 100 book bucket list of 100 books that everyone should read before they die. Shuffle off this mortal coil. And for the last 2 years I have picked 10 books, one from each row, to read during that year, and then I pick 10 for the next year. Now, I would like to preface this before we start by saying that I haven't done that well. So we're going to go through, we're going to look at the ones that I picked last time, see if I can scratch them off this time. There's quite a few that I can't do that for. And we're going to pick 10 new ones because that sounds fun, doesn't it? So let's have a look at the scratch list, see what we can scratch off, see what we're going to put on the list next year, and have a lovely time. I would love to know how many of these you have read and if there are any that you think I should prioritise. So let's do it. So from this first row, there are only 3 that I have not read, and the one that I picked last year was Siddhartha. Did I read it? No, I did not. But I am going to put the same book back on the list for this year because it will feature in another one of my goals, which is coming soon. So that was sad times. Moving swiftly on to the second row, the book that I chose was Noughts and Crosses. Now you can see that I've already crossed that off, and that is because I've filmed this section of the video once already, but I hadn't actually pressed record on my camera. So yay, we completed one. But you can see there's quite a few missing here. And I think for next year, the one that I would really like to put on the list is Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela. It's quite a chunky non-fiction, but I am really interested in the history of South Africa, and so would like to get to that one next year. Next up we have this row, and the book that I chose was The Colour Purple, and I did read that. So, isn't that good news? So, what will I pick for next year? I think I'm going to pick One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kesey. I've heard nothing but good things about that book, so really keen to get to it soon. So, moving on to the next row. The book that I chose this year was Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I did not read that. So, naughty Gemma. But the book going on for next year is actually Ulysses by James Joyce. Now, that might sound like an odd choice of book, but the reason is that I have forced Alice from Alice and the Giant Bookshelf to buddy read it with me. So we have our copies of the book. We're ready to start in January. Very exciting. The next row, the book I chose was Crime and Punishment. Now, if you've been here for a while, you'll know I have started this book. I have not finished it, so I am not allowed to scratch this off because I still have 30% of the book left to read. And so I'm going to put this on next year's list because I only have 30% left to read to complete that. And some may call that cheating. However, my scratch list, my rules. So that's going on for next year. From the next row, the book that I chose was Flowers for Algernon. I did not get to that. So I'm going to pick a different one for this year, and I think I'm going to pick Notes from a Small Island, which is another non-fiction by Bill Bryson, and I've heard pretty good things about it, and I think it'll be quite a nice easy read, so I'm adding that one. On to the next row, and the book that I chose was My Man Jeeves by P.G. Wodehouse, and I did read that, so we can scratch that one off. And so, which one should I pick for this year coming up? I think I actually might choose The English Patient just because I already have that on my TBR, and I think it's pretty short, by Michael Ondaatje. I think is what that says. So yeah, adding that one to the TBR. So from the next row, the book that I chose this year was Goodnight, Mr. Tom, which we actually read for the FOMO book club and was awesome. 5-star read. I'm glad that was on this list. So I have read that. Okay, and which one to read next? I think I might go for The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I've only read one other book by him, but really enjoyed it, so let's go for a bit of sci-fi. Then from the 9th row, the book that I chose was The Kite Runner by Carla Tusini. I have not read this yet, but it is on my December TBR. So again, we're going to stick with The Kite Runner, and hopefully I will actually read it in December, and then I can cross that off next year. And then on to our very last row. So the book that I chose was A Tale for Two Cities by Charles Dickens. I actually DNF'd that, and I DNF'd Middlemarch this year as well. So I think maybe I'll go for the easy option here for next year and choose Tell No One by Harlan Coben. I haven't read any of his books before, but I've heard so many good things, so we'll give that one a whirl. So that didn't go too well, did it? How many did I read? I read Noughts and Crosses, The Colour Purple, My Man Jeeves, and Goodnight Mr. Tom. I read 4 out of 10. But I am quite far through Crime and Punishment. So we'll call it like 4.5 out of 10. So yeah, not great. Hopefully I'll do better next year. I have a new list of 10. Well, newish. Some of them are repeats. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how that goes. I would love to know which ones you sort of really recommend that I haven't already gotten to yet. And if you're interested to see the ones that I scratched off last year, I will leave that video here, and I will catch you all very soon with another one. Bye guys.